Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time, so as a treat to you, I will cover the entire Zabuza arc in one video. With that being said, let's get into it. When we last left off, Team Kakashi was formed, and Kakashi and Mina had a bit of a tiff when it came to Naruto knowing the truth about Lord Ford. However, they choose to keep it a secret, and we then cut to the 1 month time skip, which segues into the Zabuza arc for Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura to get some early training. Outside of a slightly more intense rivalry between Naruto and Sasuke, thanks to their respective adoptions, that's roughly about the same, with the only real difference being that Sakura actually applies her genjutsu talent and actually gets some basic training in that regard. Other than that, the initial meetings go about the same, and we then cut to Naruto storming into the Hokage office. After a few D-rank startup missions, Naruto gets fed up like in canon and storms off to Lord Third's office to demand a better mission leading to the Zabuza arc. However, there's one major difference. The Konohamaru trio sneaks along for the ride. With Naruto and Konohamaru's big brother-little brother dynamic being deeper than in canon, the escort mission almost gets reassigned because Naruto agreed to watch over Konohamaru and watch over the three since Ibisu was on his own mission. That is, until Moegi spoke up that there's a secondary clause where they can come along to escort, since the escort mission is C rank or below, and in a worst case scenario, they need to fall back and report what happened, so the three of them could act as a backup. Moegi provides a good argument, however, the trio are still academy students, thus this clause doesn't apply to them. Team 7 is about to be rejected for the mission until the knucklehead speaks up. I'll do it. I'll watch over them as a secondary objective if you give us this mission. Believe it! There was a deafening silence in the room. Time stood still waiting for Hiruzen's answer. Team 7 is granted this mission. Lord Thirds begins to speak, only to be interrupted by the kids' cheers in the background. Lord Third slams his Kage hat across the table to get everyone's attention. However, 2 shinobi will be added to the mission, and one of them has been deployed in advance. I think you can take a guess who, Naruto. Naruto then ponders for a moment before proclaiming his guess. Mina was a Genin this whole time? Team 7, even the bridge builder was at a loss for words at the blonde's innate stupidity. Even if Mina was a ninja, you would have to be a Jonin in order to conduct missions alone, and a Chunin at the very least to lead a squad. No wonder you almost got dead last. Sakura griped. Oh, please. If we're going by stats, you barely outgrew Ino, and let's be honest, she's way hotter than your flat chest. Naruto bad-mouthed in defense. However, as we all know, Naruto had no idea what he had brought in himself. However, before Sakura could unleash her fury much to Sasuke's pleasure, there was a knock at the office. Lord Third acknowledged, and the knocker revealed to be Mina. You had the right idea, Naruto, but you got the order wrong. Lord Third trolled maniacally. As of today, Mina is an honorary shinobi of the Hidden Leaf Village, and will be accompanying Team Kakashi on their mission to the Hidden Mist, to the Land of Waves, where Laruka Umino will be watching over the kids and scouting further back until they rendezvous with their destination. If the mission goes wrong, Iruka will grab the builder and the kids and return back to Konoha, so don't fail, okay? Lord Third revealed. Team 7 were flabbergasted, Kakashi was pissed, and Naruto was strangely quiet about the situation. He got what he wanted. He got a juicier mission. But he almost bailed on agreeing to watch over Konohamaru to get it. As the group were being informed and given reports relevant to the mission, Naruto couldn't help but reflect and ponder the deeper meaning of the situation and everything leading up to it. He felt weak, almost hypocritical even. He wanted to be strong and dependable, thus proving his worth to the village. However, he felt rather jaded and regretful, as a huge lump of guilt plagued his heart, until he figured it out. In a very indirect way, he had almost went back on his word. Because he wanted to be a glory hound, and he feels terrible about it. Naruto walks over to Konohamaru and hugs him, apologizing for all of this. Konohamaru, flustered at his brother figure and rival, tries to act all macho to save face, which everyone laughs off, much to Konohamaru's dismay. As the kids were being taken over by Ruka-sensei and Team 7 were dismissed with Mina for the evening, Kakashi then reads an official report about Mina, why she's being made into a ninja, and more importantly, her origin. As Kakashi reads the report to discover Mina's past, everything clicked. The pictures in his mind, the estate, the blood, the dead, the utter chaos of that night, as well as the horror and bitter reality that her father, an innovator, was no more than a dirty and remorseless scoundrel that got what was coming to him. And the man leading the bandits was a renowned bounty hunter that is said to have rivaled even the first Hokage in battle. This man was Kakazu. That night, Naruto couldn't sleep. It was his first time ever leaving the village. And not only that, Big Sister Mina and Iruka-sensei were going to be support on this mission. Though he's concerned about the trio, since Konohamaru's not good at following orders. But Iruka should keep him in line. He tries not to worry about it, though. Though it is a bodyguard job, so they all should be careful. He wasn't the only one restless, though. Sakura couldn't wait, since she gets to spend some alone time with Sasuke, relatively. Though she thought back to the bell test, and it painted a picture. She was completely useless in the mission, and it took an idiot like Naruto to come up with a proper strategy. If Sasuke's introduction when we got assigned is anything to go by, the best way to his heart is power. And that's what I'll do. I'll get stronger. Not just for me, but so love will triumph as well. Sorry, not my best Sakura voice. Meanwhile, at the Hatake house, Sasuke is doing some light training, preparing his mind of any and all possibilities while reading intel-based reports regarding the Land of Waves. In order to complete my dream, I must get stronger. For my clan, my honor, my pride, and for most importantly, revenge. Sasuke mantraed to himself. Unfortunately, however, our lovely couple were having a bit of a tiff. Regardless of whether I agreed to it or not, Lord Third gave the green light, so it doesn't matter. That's not the Mina bantered. That's not the point, and you know it. Tensions are higher than they've ever been, and the Land of Waves is a territory of the Land of Water. Meaning, if this goes wrong, it could lead to a diplomatic incident. This is not some romantic getaway, Kakashi ranted. And since when do you know of anything romantic other than the smut you read on a constant basis, and in public no less? Mina retorted. There was an awkward silence between the two of them, until Mina broke it. I've been training. I know I'm not as naturally gifted or talented compared to the norm, but I've really given it my all, even to the point I became an ace at using ninja tools. Not to mention, I discovered water style not too long ago, though it could still use a little work. But I can fight, and those kids aren't aware of what they're facing. All the more reason you need a fourth guinea to back you up. Mina explained. Mina, listen. I can't protect you and focus on the mission at the same time. Those kids are the first squad I've officially accepted, let alone ever, Kakashi replied. Mina reached out and hugged Kakashi, who was a bit stunned. I'm not as weak as I was before. And and will not only complete this mission, but live to see those kids grow to their full potential together, as a team. Besides, I can't be your little damsel in distress forever. Mina responded giggly. Kakashi then. Sorry about that. Kakashi just nodded as the two tried to get some sleep. Meanwhile, in another room, a certain Uchiha orphan cringed in the distance. Just get on with it, you idiot. Sasuke bantered to himself in annoyance regarding Kakashi's restraint. The next morning, the two groups met at the front gate of the village to discuss morning briefing. The delinquent trio were half asleep, while Naruto and Konohamaru are completely pumped. Konohamaru, because he gets to show off his stuff to the boss/big brother Naruto, and our lovable knucklehead is excited because it's his first time leaving the village. Sakura's a bit annoyed at her teammates' naivete, but it's good company amidst the circumstances. Sasuke's been rather quiet, and the bridge builder Tazuna is a bit of a jerk. Iruka and Tazuna are going over the plan. They will travel in two groups. Team Kakashi will travel in the main route, while Team Iruka will scout ahead, laying traps, and will meet at the land of waves. Tazuna will accompany Team Kakashi, while the trio will take turns disguising as Tazuna using transformation jutsu to lure the bandits and other criminals while en route. It'll be good training for them. Wait a minute! I made an agreement with Old Man Third to watch over them, and I'm not going back on my word again. Believe it! Naruto would proclaim. Moegi and Udon were ecstatic over the boss, while Konohamaru was a bit flustered as well. Mr. Tazuna, would you mind holding this for a moment? Kakashi asked the bridge builder as he handed him a scroll. Tazuna accepted the request, only for it to glow and suck Tazuna right into it, effectively sealing him. The others, especially Iruka, were in complete disbelief. What? This is an escort mission. Besides, you can never be too sure on a mission, let alone regardless of simplicity. Especially if we were playing double decoy. After some debating, Kakashi replied. After some debating and retort by Iruka, they agree that while Iruka and Mina scout ahead, Team Kakashi will follow the original plan, with the trio going with them. Mina makes a shadow clone, and thus in said clone turns into Tazuna. Mina leaves a solemn yet happy wink as Kakashi sighs. I'm worried about those kids, but if they're truly set on becoming ninja, this was unavoidable. Kakashi pondered. Don't worry, guys. I'll protect you no matter what. Believe it, Naruto stated, trying to act cool. Sakura then decked the blonde out of nowhere, reminding Naruto that he's too damn reckless and a complete idiot. Boss? Your girlfriend's scary. Konohamaru quivered. Sakura, while disgusted at the thought, gave a menacing and sadistic grin. Oh, scary am I? You don't know what true fear is. Let me show you. However, before he could go any further, Mina tells the cherry blossom heroine to knock it off. Mina then walks over and the two have a little girl talk. What was that about? The young Sarutobi asked. You'll understand when you're older, especially you, Brad, if you keep pissing him off like that. Tazuna/Mina's clone replied. Before you shout my ear off, listen. We need to be as focused as possible for this mission. If you play nice, I'll train you, and not at just taming bad boys. Mina quipped. And with that, Sakura was convinced and in a much better mood. Naruto grunted at the change in jealousy. Sure, he may be dense at times, but at least in this timeline, he wasn't that stupid. He's had this newfound resentment for his quote-unquote brother since they were assigned together. Though he still has his crush on Sakura, but even he can tell when he's been dejected and rejected. What's with the look, loser? You're assuming you even had a chance at all. Sasuke coined. Naruto fumed, but kept his composure for the sake of the trio. At least at the end of the day, I was more feared than pitied, Naruto replied. Before the two could duke it out, they each received a nasty bunk on the head. Naruto from Iruka and Sasuke from Mina. If either of you wants to complete your dreams, you're going to have to learn to work together. Especially considering the fact that you're brothers, both in arms as well as family. Mina scolded. The boys pout and spout to the other that he's not my brother. Before leaving, Kakashi bites his thumb, pricking a speck of blood and weaved the proper hand signs. Summoning jutsu! Kakashi exclaimed as the smoke clouded his hand. Naruto and his delinquent sidekicks look on as static, only to reveal a small pug. The four look a bit perplexed, cringe even. You know what to do, Pakun, right? You know what to do, Pakun, right? Kakashi asked. I got it, Kakashi. But you owe me for playing babysitter, Pakun replied in a surprisingly deep voice. Mina, hearing this, retorts. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Exactly how it sounded. For God's sake, you two would probably have a kid together by now if you didn't always act like a damn child, Pakun regaled. Iruka, Kakashi, Tazuna, even the kids, including Sasuke, cringed as the pug and the youthful maiden argued. Eventually, with all that aside, the trio using transformation jutsu to resemble the bridge builder in his bags, the two groups set out in different directions. We then skip ahead to the main event because everything leading to the prior goes about the same. The only difference is that Naruto swallows his fear because of the kids, and Sasuke has a fully developed two-temple Sharingan, i.e. the Demon Brothers. Those were the Demon Brothers? How lame, Tazuna Konohamaru bantered. Says the guy who nearly broke our cover pissing himself, Sasuke countered. Before Konohamaru could risk losing concentration and turning back, the orphan prodigy is then decked in the face by the knucklehead ninja. You don't get to run your mouth acting high and mighty. Not today, Naruto states strangely calmly. This wasn't enough to spill blood, though. It was just a hard sucker punch. Nonetheless, Sasuke swallows his pride and vows to get back at the idiot when the mission ends. Team Kakashi continues their route until a very thick fog covers them, barely able to see anything. Until a solid silhouette can be seen hovering over them. Sakura, thinking quickly, grabs hold of the trio and leads back in an attempt to protect them. A moment of maternal instinct, as it were, while the others were still off guard. At that moment, the enemy swooped in with his blade and cut Kakashi in half. Everyone was completely shocked and horrified by what just occurred, to the point that Tazuna and his bag reverted back to the trio. However, Kakashi swooped in and scrapped with the enemy ninja as he flickered back against a tree on top of his blade. Well played, Kakashi of the Sharingan. Or is it the man with 1,000 jutsu? The rogue ninja Zabuza bantered condescendingly. Your reputation precedes you, though you've slouched quite a bit, Zabuza stated as he revealed to have the Tazuna scroll in hand. The kids are shocked, and Kakashi even more so. If he was able to deduce the sealing scroll, then that means... Sakura deduced, shocked. Naruto gritted his teeth as he came to the same conclusion. He charged in, ready to fight, until a blue blur dashed in and swooshed straight at Zabuza, who barely had the time to dodge. Naruto, don't be stupid and rush head first, okay? Especially against a superior opponent. The man before you is Zabuza Momochi, one of the 7 deadly swordsmen and wielder of the Executioner's Blade. Kakashi, be ready to back me up, Mina said. She cut the pin of her ponytail and let her hair flow as she got into a very specific pose. First gate! Gate of opening! Open! Mina roared as she rushed into the fray with a heaping glow. Kakashi was completely perplexed. Sure, she improved her taijutsu by sparring with Guy over the years, but to this degree? Zabuza, keeping his speed and guard up, was able to maneuver and sway against Mina's attacks. This goes stagnated until Mina burns herself out from the technique and gets caught in the water prison jutsu. Not bad taste, Kakashi. But can you really do it? Can you complete the mission all at the same time? Can you save her and complete the mission all at the same time? Or have you gone soft since taking a lover? Zabuza bantered, as he manifested 2 water clones, one to take out the kids and the other to take on Kakashi. A second fight ensues as the clone mocks them for being weak little brats, and disgraces like them aren't fit to become ninja. Kakashi and water clone number 2 are going at it blow for blow, as he has to maneuver and uncover the perfect strategy. Otherwise, the demon swordsman will kill Mina the moment he gets bored. That is until Mina gets the silver-haired Jonin a wink. Reading upon this cue, Kakashi undoes the seal on the scroll revealing Iruka Sensei. During the smoke, Sasuke tosses the demon shuriken at the real Zabuza, which causes him to jump to dodge it, while Iruka goes for the strike until countered by water clone number 2. This was the plan, however, as the shuriken transforms into Naruto, and he throws a kunai directly at the assassin's head. However, Zabuza was able to avoid this, though at the sacrifice of the water prison jutsu. Water style! Raging waves! Mina called as she breathed in and spat out a heaping wave of pressurized water, almost like a waterfall right in Zabuza's face. Despite using up the last bit of her chakra, she did manage to force the assassin to step back, giving Mina an opening for her comrades. Fire style! Mystic Flame Dance Jutsu! Iruka exclaimed with kunai in hand. Iruka pumps up and spits out a flammable gas, which is then ignited by Iruka sparking a kunai laced with a paper bomb at the end of it, resulting in a massive fireball. Water style! Water Dragon Jutsu! Zabuza counter as a water dragon seeped from the water around them and clashed with the fire attack, resulting in a huge surmount or puff of smoke. Zabuza pondered for a moment, until he realized Kakashi was looming from behind. This was a trap, so Kakashi getting full contact and link his Sharingan to Zabuza's movements, copying and countering his every move. I would have done this sooner, but I had to make sure your hostage was out of the way. As you said, she is my comrade. Kakashi quipped. Hey, wait a minute. The enemy said I was your lover, not just a comrade. Mina retorts frustrated that Kakashi doesn't act on his passion already. Big sister Mina, not the time. Naruto thinks to himself as he gets her out of the main battlefield. Now with Mina incapacitated, Iruka and Kakashi tag team against Zabuza, while Naruto takes Mina back with Sakura and the kids, leaving Sasuke watching on, curious about his sensei Sharingan power, a power that should only belong to the Uchiha. So basically, similar to same as canon, except with the addition of Veruca and a few water plus fire style combos. After the fight drags out for a very long time, Zabuza is then seen to be done in. Seen, Zabuza is able to see through a blind spot from the shining gun and goes straight for it, and goes straight for Aruka until he is then struck in the vein to the neck by two senbon, a seemingly fatal blow. Zabuza then drops to the ground lifeless. After the young ninja in a colorful mist mask explains Zabuza going rogue and he's off to dispose of the body, Team 7, Aruka, and the kids leave him to it, and then they continue their mission, staying together this time. Though Moegi is the one that transformed into Tatsuya, since Konohamaru is too psyched and spooked at the same time to keep his composure. We then see how the young ninja wasn't a mist operative, but Zabuza's partner and apprentice, and they're meeting their client, the notorious mobster Gato, and the scene plays out as per normal. Before I cut into part 3, since this is a double feature, so before I cut into part 3, I want to make this very, very, very clear. In case you're thinking or wondering, in case you're thinking I'm making Mina a Mary Sue, trust me, I'm not. Mina, even as established in the Kakashi x Mina comics, which I still recommend reading, she's still a side character at the end of the day. Mina isn't as gifted as the norm, or even the status quo. She can't utilize chakra very well. However, over the 12 years prior to the pilot, she has improved drastically through hard work and pure determination. After discovering water style, she then focuses on sparring with Kakashi and being closer to her love. As well as even going as far as to pick up a few techniques from Kakashi. Well, the basics anyway. The majority of her fighting style is taijutsu, and she got some coaching by Mike Guy. Nonetheless, back to the story. I now leave you with part 3. Alright, welcome everyone to part 3 of Kakashi x Mina. What if Kakashi got the girls an alternative name? Well, since this will be a double feature, I'm sure you're either read through the main part, or if you just saw it, or you just want to skip right to the second half. You know what? I really appreciate if you just watch for the whole thing. I know this is going to be a long one, but just work with me. Upon arrival to Taza's hometown, everyone took the time to regroup and rest. That is, until Konohamaru starts to feel a little smoke coming from the side of his butt. With a huge pop, the ceiling scroll is undone, because Kakashi is low on chakra. As a result, Tazuya was released forcibly, causing a small propulsion, leaving to Konohamaru falling headfirst into the water. That was a good long nap, the bridge builder bellowed, while Pakun was fishing Sarutobi's bread out of the water, beginning a rather concerned. I'm glad that Zabuza guy's done now. But how were you able to pull the switcheroo over him like that? Well, here's another lesson. A ninja must see the meanings within the hidden meanings, Kakashi replied. Sakura was perplexed by the crudeness of their sensei's wording. Oh, come on, Kakashi-sensei. You planted the real skull in Konohamaru's pouch when we were sleeping back at the border when we camped for the night. It was so obvious, Naruto bantered, again trying to show off to the kids. The trio are amazed by their boss and Idol's attitude, but all the idiot really did was deduce common sense. Sakura, in response, throws a shuriken at Naruto, causing the boy to dodge until he's decked right in the gut before he can regain his footing. Now, Naruto, did you see the deeper meaning in that? Kakashi coined questionably. Naruto grunted in retort as he wrapped his arms around his stomach. Regardless of the obvious, one of us should scout the perimeter and run reconnaissance, Mina suggested. Iruka pondered for a moment, recognizing what they should do next. It was then decided that he would be the one to run reconnaissance, while Kakashi and the kids would rest. Mina wasn't as drained, but she chose to stay by Kakashi's side, while giving Sakura some light training. Sasuke did his usual train and brood routine, and Naruto left to do his own training, while Konohamaru, Moegi, Udon reluctantly stayed behind. Even though Zabuza's defeated, Mr. Tasuna's bounty is still in place, which means someone, even the townspeople, could take out or offer him for the money, Moegi reasons. Pretty sound logic for a bunch of ignorant nobodies, Inari bantered. This is the kid who paralleled Naruto during this arc in canon, but here he's actually interacting with Konohamaru, which at this point in the story was quite the spoiled brat. Hey, what's the big idea? Konohamaru questioned. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as heroes, so why bother? Inari replied. Just you wait. Big Brother Naruto will prove just how wrong you really are. Besides, politics aside, you're an even bigger brat than I am. You talk big, but it's just an act. 'Cause you feel lonely after that Kaiser guy was killed. Trust me, little emo, bad-mouthing isn't going to solve anything. Either learn to deal with it and fight your own battles, or get out of the way. Konohamaru replied, trying to sound deep and inspiring like Naruto. However, the speech completely backfires, and Inari just completely pounces on him. Comically, as a matter of fact. The two boys fight, with Konohamaru's scarf being a constant disadvantage. Moegi and Udon were desperately trying to get the two to stop, even going as far as using sexy jutsu. Alas, Inari's young mind was too underdeveloped to properly react to what was in front of him. But it did confuse the young boy enough for Konohamaru to get out of his grasp. Had enough, punk? Konohamaru asked with a bloody nose. Just shut your mouth! You don't get to say his name! What would a snot-nosed brat like you know about anything? Inari retorted, crying. At that moment, Konohamaru and crew had an epiphany. Regardless of politics, you still need money to commission a contract. Sure, because this is Tasuna's hometown, so he was able to get it for a cheap price. But it still took a lot of pitching in from the community. And out of pocket, no less. This was fundamentally kept a secret This was fundamentally kept a secret until either someone snitched or Gato got wise. Thus, Kaiser was killed as an example. Konohamaru is too stubborn to openly address it, so Moegi does it for him. Mr. Kaiser, it was recent, wasn't it? Inari just nodded in tears. Naruto, as he just got back from walking into the forest, and the catfishing that followed, walked in on the scene. Konohamaru, you obviously said something you shouldn't have, so just apologize. Inari, you too. We can't have your grandfather finish the bridge if we're wasting time stopping you guys from fighting, you know? Naruto scolded. Inari grunted in frustration, but deep down he knew the blonde was right. I'm sorry, Konohamaru muttered. This led to a shock amongst the kids. I said what I said, but it doesn't make it right. Let's just get this done, okay? He continued. Inari just scowled as the two walked away from each other. Naruto went with the others to deduce that Zabuza was still alive, and they devised a plan which would end up being the final battle. In accordance to their plan, the trio would stay behind with Tazuna, while Mina, using transformation, took his place. Meanwhile, Iruka would go ahead and run recon against Gato and his men to buy Team 7 some time. Naruto leaves a few shadow clones to bind and watch over the kids, the three, until Iruka Sensei got back. Nonetheless, we skip ahead to the final battle, and everything goes about the same, except reluctantly, Naruto and Sasuke have better synergy at working together, and as previously mentioned, the Uchiha orphan has two Tamil Sharingan. As explained in parts 1 and 2, Kakashi had taken in Sasuke after the massacre. So he's a little bit stronger here in both eyes, so he's able to maneuver a lot better. Until Naruto in a careless misstep left himself open within the crystallized mirror jutsu. Sasuke does get hit by the attack, but thanks to his added training, he's able to avoid a fatal blow. Naruto, lost in his rage, still lashes out like in canon, but with even greater ferocity because of the deeper bond between the rivals. Haku, bloodied and bodied left and right, even when his mask is broken, the demon blonde's rage doesn't quell. Zabuza, in a rare moment of devotion to his partner and apprentice, tries to outmaneuver Kakashi, but it's just not enough. Suddenly, Tazuna reverts back into Mina as she observes her son's struggle. Sakura, I need you to follow my lead no matter what. Can you handle that? Mina asks with a stern look on her face. Sakura is solemn for a moment, but nods in agreement. All right, let's do this. Speed style, homing speed jutsu! Mina called as she dashed at a high speed, almost as fast as what she displayed with the first gate, dashing straight for Haku, and their scrap began. While Sakura, using basic clone jutsu, was able to maneuver through the confusion and reach the raging Jinchuriki. Upon reaching her destination, Naruto stares right in Naruto's face. As Naruto's lost in his anger, contemplating whether or not to attack her. What Mina told me about the Nine Tails. If he lost complete control, we'd be a lot worse off. Still, I have to try. Sakura monologued to herself. Then she waved the hand signs for a very basic genjutsu, and placed Naruto under the illusion that Naruto was back in Ichiraku Ramen's, celebrating the mission with everyone, Sasuke included. In this state, Naruto was genuinely happy. As his happiness soared, his rage subsided as he turns back to normal. Well, normal for Naruto. Meanwhile, Sasuke was able to regain consciousness, and after reevaluating the battlefield, he notices Mina versus Haku, and the blue-haired dame is running on fumes. Although the red-eyed Avenger will never see Mina as a mother, he still cares for her. Fire style! Fireball jutsu! Sasuke roared as he made his entrance, aiming straight for Haku. Mina decided to follow it with another Raging Waves jutsu. The resulting combo fused in a massive smoke, as everyone's sight began to dissipate. Despite being more long-range, Zabuza taught you well, Sasuke quipped. I am my master's tool. I will give my life for Lord Zabuza. Haku replied with grit and conviction. The mother-son duo and the youthful assassin went at it once more, with much vigor until the moment was just right. Mina then put her plan into action. Haku was observing the first conflict against Team 7, so he picked up on Sasuke's notorious Sharingan and how it can copy jutsu. So when Sasuke would use a water-style jutsu he picked up against him, Haku would use a secret technique to travel into an icy mirror world in the reflection and positioning his 1,000 water needles of death jutsu. Mina then seized her chance. When that time came, Mina would seize her chance. Water style, water vortex jutsu! Sasuke bellowed as a spiral of water swarmed around them, straight towards the enemy. Both Zabuza and Haku commented on how foolish Sasuke was being. Until Mina, after summoning a shadow clone and water transformation, until Mina first used a water used to place Haku in the water prison, signs of which were taught to her by Kakashi as they were recovering. She then disguised herself as him as she leaped into Kakashi's Raikiri, piercing his chest. Haku, catching on, stayed within the mirror world until the time was just right. In case you're confused, with the ice mirrors already in play, and Mina using a water clone, Mina then sacrificed a water clone to manifest a water prison. So Haku is bound to the mirrors through the positioning of the water. At least that's as simple as I can make it. We then get Gato's arrival, stomping over Haku's body, and Naruto's taught no jutsu. Naruto's generally the same naive idiot in this arc. He's just a bit more composed because of his responsibility over the trio. However, as Zabuza unleashes his killing intent on Gato, staring death in the face, Gato's men don't land a single strike, and he's able to dice the monster's greedy head clean off, effectively killing him. Haku then unveiled himself from the simmering rain. At that moment, everyone figures it out as Mina's water transformation is undone and her lifeless body is revealed under the glistening snow. A heaping silence fills the bridge as they believe Mina to be no more. Sakura is speechless as she reflects on the pain of loss. Naruto grunting and howling in a tearful, bumbling stupor, and Sasuke just grits his teeth until he spots Haku from the corner of his eye. In a brief moment of rage, a third Temel manifests in his right. Why? Why did it have to be you that got to live? Sasuke chastises in grief. Before either party could duke it out, Mina suddenly rose up and grabbed Sasuke by the shoulder, exhaustedly. Huh. I was wondering when you were going to show off the second gate. Good strategy, though. Kakashi noted. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura had a huge shock and a bit of gawk on their faces. The gates are a lesson for another time, but even so, my Raikiri was an advanced version of the Chidori. How did you survive it? Kakashi continued.
Well, Kakashi, that's a little obvious, don't you think?
Mina quipped flirtatiously. Kakashi sighed as he tapped her shoulder, the one that took the near-fatal attack. You do realize that the second gate heals to an extent while re-energizing the body, right? Kakashi quipped. Mina huffed as she grabbed her left breast in pain. Under his mask, Zabuza had a very smug grin on his face. While since his mask was broken, Haku facepalms in an attempt to keep his composure, noticing Mina's chest the first time since this whole endeavor. And our lovable knucklehead was almost ready to bust a gut, until Sasuke elbowed him in the stomach, knocking the wind out of him. Look to your right, think about what you're about to say, and don't say it. Sasuke replied as the very essence of Sakura was fuming, and a repressed fury was boiling, begging for an excuse to be unleashed. Naruto scowled, but for his own sake, he heeded Mr. Popular's advice. Once back in Tazina's village, the people, including Inari and his mother, led a revolt against the remainder of Gato's men, fighting them off never to come back, with a little bit of help from Maruka. The delinquent trio were in awe as Naruto told the story of their battle and the lessons that could be learned from it. While the festivities were taking place, Zabuza was still covered in enemy blood, even though he never received a gouge wound unlike Kanon. He took the iron from his blood and a mix of his own chakra to pretty much forge a Republican executioner's blade, to give the impression that he was killed in battle. Though as political prisoners, it's more than likely that the Hokage will just cut him down and be done with it after securing some intel. At least in the end, Haku will be able to honor his master with the true executioner's blade, while the hidden mist will be none the wiser. The next day, our heroes are on their way back with surprisingly both objectives completed in tow. Though Mina and the copy ninja are going to have quite the conversation when they get home. The bridge, once finished, would become to be known as the Great Naruto Bridge. And as for the Demons of the Mist, they'll be arrested and taken to Lord Third. Whether he'll accept them as deserters and recruits for Konoha is unknown. Mina, even after all these years, what am I gonna do with her? Kakashi thought to himself. And that's where I'll end this right now. If you've actually been paying attention to the series on the story on Wattpad, which I highly recommend reading to stay ahead in case I get behind again, then you should know there is one more piece as an epilogue. But this is the main event of the Zabuza arc. So I want to keep the aftermath as a separate part 4. That way we can, add a little bit of nuance wrapping things. I don't want to rush into things too quickly. So this is the double feature, Kakashi x Mina Part 2. And don't worry, for all the background art I use, I will leave a shout out to everyone who goes out of their way in the community. Even if I don't know all the creators' names, just know I greatly appreciate it. And I thank you for your continued commissions and your love for the series, for the main series. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on part 3, the aftermath of this arc, and in the beginning leading to the Chunin exams.